In the beginning, I was like, no birth plan, just vibes. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I am preparing for labor at 38 weeks pregnant. It is actually insane that we're here already, but I thought this would be a great video. I know I was looking for a lot of inspiration earlier on in my pregnancy just to kind of see like what to expect down the line, and I hope this is helpful for some of you. Like I said, I'm 38 weeks pregnant today. I am so close to giving birth to my baby girl and I'm so excited. I am the type of person who likes to be prepared. I like to know what I'm getting myself into. So during my pregnancy, I definitely have done a lot of research. I have invested in courses, I've invested in a doula, and of course there are so many ways to go about birth and like motherhood in general. But for me, it's just in my personality and the way I am, I'm more comfortable when I have the knowledge and education, and I don't like going to anything blind personally. I feel like, especially when it comes to birth, a lot of poor experiences or birth trauma can be avoided simply by educating yourself and taking the time to, you know, be your own advocate, know what is going to be offered to you in the hospital, what the side effects of everything is. And it's funny because when I first got pregnant, I definitely did not have this attitude. I was kind of just not in denial, but very much like, oh, like I'm just gonna be that chill mom, I'm gonna be that chill pregnant lady who just like goes with the flow. But the more I learned about birth, childbirth, and the experiences that women have and how often birth trauma is, and you know, women having these like horrible, awful birth stories, the more I learned about it, basically the more I realized that you really do have to be your own advocate. And as amazing as your care and medical team is, they have a lot going on. They don't have the time to sit down and tell you like the side effects of everything they're going to offer you. Sometimes it's not necessarily in your best interest. Sometimes it's to get you out of there faster, or to, you know, and no hate at all to the nurses and the doctors. What they do is amazing. But all I can say is I think it's really important to know what's going on, make informed decisions, so that you don't end up looking back and saying, oh, well, if I wish I knew that this might lead to this and that this would have caused this. So I just think it makes for an easier experience for everyone involved. I will say I started this journey completely no idea. No, like I knew nothing about birth. I knew nothing about babies. And now like I feel very well educated. Of course, experience is the best teacher, but I feel so good about everything I've learned, and I feel so confident going into this process, which is great because when I didn't know anything, I felt very scared, and I felt scared of the unknown. And now I feel like I know more and I know what to expect. Again, there's nothing like experiencing it in real life, but I feel more empowered and confident going into it, and also kind of excited, which is crazy. You don't really hear people often like describe themselves as excited for birth, but I am excited to experience what I've been learning about and experience what this body is capable of. I know pain and discomfort are a part of the journey, and I know it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies, but I do feel mentally equipped to handle the challenges that are ahead of me, and I feel empowered to get through it and to have the best birth experience possible. So all that to say, I'm done rambling. This is what I have done to prepare to give birth for the first time. So I did invest in a hypnobirthing course. If you don't know what hypnobirthing is, it sounds like crazy because it sounds like hypnosis, but really all it is just relaxation techniques and breathing techniques to really stay in a very calm state of mind. You can do hypnobirthing with any kind of birth. You can do it with an epidural, you can do it with a C-section. Like it's not for a natural birth. That is the most common use for it, is to stay calm and out of a fight or flight and able to navigate a natural birth. But again, like the techniques that I learned, I can apply to anything, and it would kind of just help the birthing experience. So I did that. It was one of the best things I can do. I feel so empowered by all the knowledge that I did learn in the course. It was The way it works is like you find a practitioner who teaches the hypnobirthing techniques, and then I did a Zoom situation and I did 4 classes, me and my husband, and my doula actually offers them. So I took my doula's course and it was great, and I really loved it. It changed my whole perspective on birthing in general. So that was the very first thing I did, and everything I learned in there is kind of a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today. Pretty much I learned how to get ready for birth and how to labor. So that was the first thing I did. The next thing I'm doing and have been doing is birthing ball exercises. So every night I kind of made a routine out of it, and that's the best way I think to implement, because it's kind of a lot. And when you like are busy and work a full-time job or have kids and you're running a household, like it's hard to find the time to carve out to do these things. So I have kind of made it this like a nighttime routine for myself, and it's worked out that way. So every time after a shower I do my little ball exercises, my stretches, all the things that I'm gonna go through. But I do definitely feel like the birthing ball exercises has helped a lot with my hip pain. It's really to just like help open your hips up, but I also feel like it has helped me manage my hip and pelvic pain, like especially in these later weeks. So I'm being consistent with my birthing ball exercises. While I'm on the ball, I will have headphones in and I listen to birthing affirmations, which I think it has been so helpful for me. And a lot of birth is mental, what I've learned. Of course, there's so much of it that's physical, but there's also such a big mental aspect. And listening to things like the birth affirmations while I'm on my birthing ball, it's just really helping me prepare mentally and get in the right mindset and, you know, perspective to go into this, knowing that my body was built for this, I'm capable of it. You know, things like my body and my baby were made for this. It's just really reassuring and affirming that, you know, this is a very natural process, and the body is very intelligent and your baby is intelligent, and they can work together in harmony. So I really loved listening to my affirmations every night. That has definitely helped me. And then sometimes if I get a little bit bored of that, I'll listen to like birthing meditations either on YouTube or there's a really great YouTuber, Built to Birth, and I've actually purchased a few for courses, and she has some good birthing affirmations as well. Aside from the birthing ball exercises, I've been doing some just general stretching and hip mobility exercises, and that is just, again, to loosen up my hips. Like your pelvis is like opening, like your bones are literally spreading apart. So I'm just trying to gently stretch through that. I grew up dancing, so there's not one particular stretch circuit that I'm following. I'm kind of just listening to my body and doing what feels good. A lot of deep like groin and like hamstring stretches, a lot of butterflies, a lot of like yoga poses. And in addition to that, I have been doing a few positions to get baby in alignment, which really just is like on your hands and knees to create like a little hammock so that their back turns, and then some slight inversions to try to get them head down. They say to start that like around 37 weeks to try to get the head down, and happy to report that baby is head down and her back is against my tummy, which is exactly where we want her. So I do think these positions worked. I have been pretty consistent doing them, and I just keep continuing doing them to make sure that she stays in a good spot. So a few other things that my doula recommended that honestly I haven't been great at, but these last 2 weeks I'm really gonna ramp it up. But a few of those things are the obvious ones: raspberry leaf tea, and dates. Those apparently work really well. And also using primrose oil. So it's called evening primrose oil, and you poke a hole in it and you stick it up your vagina, and it apparently helps prepare your cervix and loosen up your cervix and get your cervix kind of ripe and ready to go. So the one she recommended is by Sports Research. I'll show you guys here. So she said to make sure that it's cold pressed. And yeah, you just pop that up against your cervix and it helps ripen everything up. In addition to that, I have started and need to continue perineum massages. That is the area between your holes, and basically what you're doing is stretching it out to help ensure that you don't tear. It's very common to tear, what I've learned from podcasts. It's really common. I think they said something around like 40 or 60% of women experience some degree of tearing. Obviously, if we can avoid it, the better. So I have started to do those massages, and there's some great YouTube videos. It's very simple, but you could just do a quick YouTube search and learn how to give yourself a perineum massage, or have your partner help you with it. But basically, you're just really stretching out the area so that you can avoid tearing. Okay, and the last thing, I think, I might be missing something, but the last thing that I'm preparing for labor with is practicing the breathing techniques that I learned in the hypnobirthing class, particularly the birth breath, which basically is the breath that you use to push out the baby. But rather than pushing, you're breathing the baby out. And again, this is all part of the hypnobirthing technique. I don't want to butcher it. I'm not a practitioner, but it is basically replacing pushing with breathing, and like breathing the baby down. So there is a particular breathing technique for that, where you breathe in through your nose and then you breathe out. It's so hard to explain. You breathe in through your nose and then you breathe down your throat, and kind of imagine the breath going down as a C. And you practice this breath, they say, to practice it while you're going number 2. And that's like the only time you should practice it, because it's like very effective. I will say it is extremely effective for pushing things out without having to push, without having to literally like hold your breath and purple push. You are doing this breathing instead, and it makes sense if you think about it, and if you practice it, it makes even more sense. But your breath is pushing out whatever's inside you just naturally, without you having to hold your breath. So really cool. I've enjoyed it. I definitely recommend looking into it. Even if you don't want to take the whole hypnobirthing class, I would learn like the breathing techniques, because it works, and we'll see when it comes to breathing down my baby. But apparently that is, you know, there's an alternative to purple pushing. And I've learned that our uterus was literally built to push out a baby. We actually don't have to push. Like, our body's natural reaction is to contract the baby out of our body. So that, paired with the breathing, makes for a much gentler approach. And instead of cutting your circulation off by, you know, taking these long deep breaths and then holding your breath and pushing, which also takes oxygen away from your baby, this is just another technique. I am no expert, so please don't take this as expert advice. Listen to your doctors, listen to your, you know, care team. In no way is this medical advice, but that is what I have learned. That's what I will be doing, and I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to see how it goes. So that's everything I'm doing to prepare for labor. I did want to touch on a few things that I've done to prepare for baby and postpartum, because once you go through labor, once you have your birth, it doesn't end there. It probably only gets more intense. So these are the things that I've done to prepare for having a newborn, and also to take care of myself postpartum. So for the baby, honestly, I'm, like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm so pro education, and you know, I think that's just the best resource out there for us. We're so blessed in this generation to have access to so much knowledge from the right people, because we can get advice from our friends and our family, but their advice probably only goes as far as what their experience was. And if I've learned anything, it's to not listen to other people's experience, and to listen to professionals and people who work in the birthing industry, who've seen hundreds of births. It's really, really important to block out any negative birth stories that you have heard. And it is something that people like to share. I think it's like some sort of, I don't know, sharing of information that they feel like is helpful, but really, if it's a negative birth story, it's not helpful. All it does is scare a mom. So that's just a piece of advice. Like, don't absorb anyone else's birth experience. You will have your own experience that is completely your own. And even if you need to set boundaries with people, power to you. Do it. Okay, so with that being said, I invested in a baby care course. It's like a general baby care course. It taught me things like how to do a sponge bath and what behaviors are normal in the first few days of having a newborn. Like they make weird sounds when they sleep and don't freak out. Things like that. Basically things that I would Google because I didn't grow up around a baby and I don't have any, I'm the first one of my friends and family to have a baby. So I didn't get to watch anyone take care of a baby. So for me, like even as simple as how to take care of a newborn, like that was important for me to learn. So I got that baby care course. I got a breastfeeding course, which I'm almost done with. And I love what I'm learning. I think so much, you know, again, I'm like harping on this, but I feel like so many people, their experience isn't what they want it to be, but it's because, of course, they're like, how would you know if you don't know? It's like, you don't know what you don't know. And by knowing the information and knowing like what to do when things come up, how to avoid it altogether, I think that's invaluable. So I'm really happy I'm taking a breastfeeding course. And then I'm also taking a newborn sleep course. It's like a 0 to 6 month old newborn sleep course. That's something I know nothing about. I'm excited to learn about it. I think it's so important to learn about. And yeah, so I made those investments for myself and I couldn't feel better about it. I will link the courses that I took below. I'm not affiliated with them, but if you guys want to look into them yourselves, please do. And then aside from just the courses, we just made sure that the bassinet is ready, the nursery is ready, the obvious things when it comes to nesting, getting a nursery ready, getting the diapers all set up and the clothing washed and all that fun stuff. Let me know if you guys want me to do a nursery tour. That's not even done. My nursery is not even done. Like the big things are in there. I would say it's like 80% done. I still need to put up the little things, organize, wash more clothes, things like that. But let me know if you guys want a nursery tour when I'm all done with it. The most important thing for me was making sure the bassinet was set up, and then I have like a little bedside changing table area for like nighttime feeds, nighttime changes, so that I don't have to go into the nursery and it can just be all right there to try to get as much sleep as possible and just make my life as easy as possible. So those things are set up and that was like first priority for me. Nursery, she's not even gonna be sleeping in that crib for a while. And then a few things that I've just done for postpartum is getting a postpartum cart together, which if you don't know what it is, look it up on TikTok. Basically just a bunch of helpful things to help you recover down there, like ice maxi pads and perineum foam and, you know, kind of just like pain relievers down there to help out the situation. Something else that I definitely making sure I'm doing is making sure my fridge and pantry are stocked with food. My freezer is stocked with meat. And if I can get to it, fingers crossed, I would love to do some meal prep and get some crock pot freezer meals in my freezer. That is the goal. If she comes on time, I should have time to do that. I should have enough time-ish to prepare and get to do all that stuff. If she comes early, probably not, but that is next on my list for what I want to have prepared. All right, you guys, I hope this video was helpful. Again, if I could share anything with you, being 38 weeks pregnant and about to give birth and excited to go into the experience and not scared, my best advice is to do your research, look into things, don't go into it blind. Again, in the beginning, I was like, no birth plan, just vibes. But that is sometimes how things work out, and then you look back and you're like, wow, that could have went so much better, so much could have been avoided. And now I'm like, birth plan for sure. Also, if it helps, like I said, I hired a doula, and then I'm also working with a midwife, not even on purpose, just that's how my practice runs. I haven't even seen a doctor because I'm a low risk pregnancy. I probably won't see a doctor, like unless some sort of complications come up. I probably will continue to just see my midwife, and my midwife will probably be the one to deliver my baby. So that is also just bits of information if it's helpful to see what my situation is going to be. Happy birthing, happy preparing for labor, happy first time mom stuff. Sending you guys so much love. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.